What's up, YouTube? This is Italian from 8-Bit Co-op, and I want to thank you for joining me here today as we play some Secret World Legends. Now, I'm going to go over some of the builds I use and tell you what I like about the builds, why I use them, and what set I think is the most important for that build. Okay, my number one damaging build, which is probably one of the more popular builds on the server, is Hammer Shotguns. So, these are my passives. I have Annihilation. That's my big finisher, big elite move. I have Outrage for Seethe and Extra Rage to get extra Demolish. I have Point Blank Shot, and increases the damage of my Raging Shot. Fatal Funnel, I like CQC because it's another stun, and it does alright damage. This can be replaced with another ability. And then we have Obliterate, which increases the damage of my Devastate by 35%, I want to say. Let me check that really quick. Yeah, crit down, Demolish, crits by 35% more damage. Okay, so the most important stat I think for this build is crit power. And Obliterate is the reason why. A lot of the damaging abilities from Hammer and Shotgun, they have really good, really big, or really high damaging abilities that you don't get a lot of opportunity to, not opportunity to use, but because of your management of your resources here, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 shots of this off. But they're all high damaging abilities, so they create a pretty substantial amount. Here's my gear. I wanted, before I did my build video, I wanted to have at least all level 30 epic gear with keep hitting the wrong button. At least all of my glyphs are I gotta change that one out from crude, but I'll work on that later. But I want all my glyphs to be epic. I just recently rechanged this one out, this glyph out. I was fiddling around with the remove the thing I was trying to upgrade, and I accidentally, the glyph I was gonna use, instead of upgrading, I put the purple glyph into the blue one and I lost it. So that's why that one's not purple. Anyways, this is a really high damaging, you see there, high damaging build. The crits in this are pretty insane. I've run dungeons where I'm getting on Demolish, you know, 15k crits fairly easy. That's not with anybody's buff. That's just, you know, the nature of this build. But it does a lot of single target damage. A problem with this build is not a whole lot of AoE. This build is not for AoE fights. I do have a setup for AoE fights, but it is not this one. You can see I am, even though I'm level 50, I can run through these mobs fairly, I mean, look at that. Two hits, and on a level 50 mob. I can run through these mobs fairly quickly. Also, another thing is I like to have, for my shotgun, I like to use the Dragon's Breath, and then if I can, the depleted uranium rounds. So Dragon's Breath to keep the bleed, or keep the burn, and you can see the burn is actually pretty significant. And the more you have on, I think it gets up to about 670 a tick with all the stacks on, if I remember correctly. I have ACT, but its ACT is running really weird on my computer for some reason. It's crashing the game, so hopefully there's going to be a fix for that soon. But ACT really hasn't been reliable for me to run and actually do numbers. I would have liked to have done this video and actually done numbers and shown you, but I just, at this point in time, I can't. I've been putting this video off for quite some time, and I figured I put it off long enough. I'm going to go ahead and just do the video, and, I mean, do what I can with it. You know, do what I can with what I have. So, let's see here. I'll go ahead and go down here. So this is my main build, Hammer Shotgun. This is, like I said, it's a really good single target, really high damaging. Not a lot of group utility though. And but I like the 2 interrupts because a lot of times I found I'm running stuff with tanks, Elite 2s, Elite 3s that don't either interrupt or don't know to interrupt. They don't know they have some of the boss mechanics can be interrupted, and it's kind of annoying, you know, because that when you're fighting a boss and take Darkness Wars, the one boss in Darkness Wars, the first boss, when he does the red circle, you know, he does the red circle, people do this, and if you're melee and you're like this for 2-3 seconds, you're not doing any damage. Well, I have my 2 interrupts there, because, so if it gets to a certain distance and I see the tank not interrupting it, I'll go ahead and interrupt it. And, did it just say, hold on, I couldn't take this quest? Cool nature here, another vampire diary. Oh yeah, that's another one, that's the one quest that I picked up earlier. Anyways, so the interrupt is very helpful for tanks who just don't know, and I've run into some really, really bad tanks, and that's so annoyingly frustrating when you have a bad tank. You know, bad healers, bad DPS, but a bad tank is, you know, the cohesion of the group. The group will fall apart. Healers die, group can still fight on. Tank dies, yeah, you're fairly done. So that's just a mechanic I use to help tanks who don't know them. Plus, they are fairly, you know, substantial damage. Alright, the next build I have, and I name my builds, I give them weird names, it just helps me out. My first build, no, that's not it. DPS, alright, is the Interceder build. Next is the Enforcer build. This is my shotgun. I renamed my own build. This is my shotgun pistol. Again, because shotgun is primary, I have to say the most important stat for this build would be crit power. Now, crit rating. Crit rating has been synonymous for DPS in every game, every MMO ever. The more crit rating you have, or crit chance you have, the more crits you're going to do, the more extra damage. However, in this game, I found abilities like our weapons like pistols, fist weapons especially, and chaos weapons where you have channeled attacks that do multiple hits, benefit more from having a high crit chance than crit power. Take oh, what is this called? Unload. Unload, really good ability, hits 5 or 6 times. Now imagine all of those, you know, critting and I've seen it, where every one of those have crit for about 1,200 apiece. That's a sizable chunk of damage, and it's spammable. So you can use it, and then use it again, and then use it again until you're out of resources. And, you know, higher crit chance is gonna equal more crit, which is gonna increase your, you know, your damage per second, which you're gonna have higher numbers, which every group likes, you know, when their DPS is actually pulling their weight and doing things. My wife and I have run groups where it's been like, why the hell does it feel like we're the only ones really doing anything, you know? Alright, so, this build. So we have Bamboozle. I feel as if I did, okay, no, okay. So, Bamboozle is for my elite ability. I like Bamboozle because of the effects or for trick shot. It stuns enemies. Enemies that are stunned take an additional damage. Root enemies, when it expires, they take a lot of damage. So the root is what I really want. Snared enemies, you know, take damage every second. They're snared. 240 points of damage every second they're snared. That's really good. Plus, it hits multiple targets. High caliber rounds. This increases the damage done by my chambers. A lot of people use Kill Blind. I'm not a fan of Kill Blind. I'm not really. I've looked at the numbers with it. I found that this way, this setup right here has been more impressive with what I have instead of using Kill Blind. I have Jackpot, which increases the damage dealt by an extra 3 seconds when I get a matching chamber. So instead of I think it's like 3 seconds, it actually changes to 6 seconds, which you get, you know, roughly amounts to maybe 2 more attacks. 3 if you can squeeze it in, you're really good. You're not lagging. Then I have Fire at Will. This basically just increases my buff opening shot, which increases increases crit power by 30%. So that, like I said, stacked with, you know, having a high crit power anyways, is just going to do some really devastating crits. I was contemplating taking CQC off and putting this on my other build for, I mean, that's a really, really ridiculous. I was fiddling around with it before, and I took it off. Reason why is because I was running in a group, and I would use it and devastate, seed, devastate, 4 devastates in a row. And I was pulling aggro from the tank, and I was dying. And the tank was geared, wasn't super geared, and it was, you know, it was an elite 2, but I just found that I was pulling aggro, and I think I had better gear than needed, so I actually switched that out. I'm probably going to switch that back, change out CQC, and with opening shot, because A, it's a good group buff, and B, I mean, it increases the demolishes 35%, you know, damage increase to its crit, plus having another 30% increase to crit power. As I mean, demolish is going to start hitting for ridiculous numbers. So let's see here. And raging shot, or point blank, increases the damage of raging shot. I mean, that's pretty standard. So this is my pretty standard passives. I unload for my pistol. I only have 2 pistol abilities: unload and trick shot. I like trick shot better than any of the other shotgun. I don't understand this. I used this for a while and fiddled around with it. Didn't like it at all. Another thing I did was I got all the abilities unlocked, and I'm working on the for most of them, I'm working on the first capstone. That's another reason why I wanted to get that I unlocked the ability for the builds that I'm going to be demonstrating. I unlocked the passives that I felt are the most crucial for the build. Alright, so here we have CQC again. However, if you see, we don't have the buff for CQC. This is just an interrupt. Basically, I mean, it does the damage, but again, this is another interrupt to help tanks out who don't know to interrupt. And then pump action, which is your standard shotgun attack. Like I said, when I use my shotgun, I try to use flame rounds, and then flame rounds are my primary choice, and then the depleted uranium. If I can't use depleted uranium, then I'll use the armor piercing. So, alright, and that is my enforcer build. It's a fairly damaging build. I do enjoy it. I found it, like, for Machine Tyrant and a lot of fights where a lot of movement fights, like Machine Tyrant is a high mobility fight. I find this is one of my favorite builds to use for it. It doesn't do the damage as the hammer shotgun build. However, it is still really very nice. And it allows me, you know, a lot of range, because I don't really use... I'm going to do an elemental build, but I'm not really a super fan of elemental. Right? Elemental is not a good place. I feel elemental needs to be buffed, swords need to be buffed. Fist weapons... Okay. Fist weapons. Let's go ahead and talk about fist weapons. We're going to go ahead and do my bounty hunter. This is my support build. Okay, this is my support build for bounty hunter. This basically is just I use this when I just want to do insane single target damage on mobs. I have the 1 buff from fist weapons, from savagery, and I have clean slate to clean effects. Again, I find there are some fights where healers just don't know that there are certain effects that need to be cleansed off. You know, and you know, they don't cleanse, or you know, something will happen where the healer will be stunned or just out of range. You know, and this is really helpful for that as well. The passives I use for this: bamboozle, fairly standard. I use wind streak because it increases the bonus damage to match chambers. This increases damage by 3 seconds for match chambers. I got my high caliber round. Now I was thinking for this one whether or not to use Whatever. I'll go ahead and kill this guy. Oh, look at that. Yeah, nice. This one is a high sustained single target build, damage build, because of this right here. And I try to, you know, attack. And before I use this, I'll use savagery, and then this when my pistol energy is low, because this makes it so that so okay, how did I is the passive for floor? It's passive for flourish. 6 seconds. Okay, yeah, I try to use this, you know, because the passive, my weapons do 15% more damage and they can't glance or be evaded. So normally I'll burn through these, you know, open up, soften target up with that. When I get really low, I'll use flourish, savagery, then bamboozle, and then go back in. And I roughly will put me to where I can use this twice before all the buffs wear off, which is really good because, you know, the hits can't be glanced or evaded, and they have the 15% increased damage. And a lot of times I found that I end up with you end up with matching chambers a lot more than you really think. So, oh, I never searched the box over here. Let me go over here and do this. But that is my pistol fist single target build. Now, we'll go over this one. This is my warlord build. This one I like it. I don't use it a lot because my crit isn't high enough to where I feel it's a viable damage build. But let's go with the passives anyway, so you guys can see. That is wrong. I must not have updated it. So we're gonna do favor. Give me just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and resave this for update. Okay, so this build here, one of the issues I have with this build is that one of the issues I have with fist period is there's not a lot of high damaging fist abilities. It's a lot of bleed and sustain, or it's a lot of bleed and sustain damage. The big damage comes from when you stack a bunch of bleeds and you use ferocity. Okay, ferocity is going to all the bleeds you have, it's gonna use them up, you know, and then stack that damage on top of that. I've seen actually this build and the hammer open up was the highest hitting one. But this one, I've seen this hit for 21k on several occasions, which it blows my mind because I feel I don't have the crit power or the crit chance for that to be happening. But this is one of my higher damaging. My item power is 313, so I'm slowly making my way up there. But I'm trying to get my crit chance to 15%. Basically, my soft numbers for me are 15, 15, and 55. So crit power should, of course, in the end, you want to get this higher, but if you want these to be around 25%, but for where I'm at, I'm trying to get those to 15, 15, and 55. I accomplished the 55 for oh boy, this is not. I accomplished the 55 for my crit power, but the other numbers, I haven't been able to get them to where I like them yet. Let me see if I can go see if that ferocity will show up and see how much damage that did. I don't think I had very many dots on it, and that's the one thing about that build. If you use ferocity, if you don't have dots stacked up and you use ferocity, I mean, it's kind of a waste. Ferocity did mango hit for. See, and that's why I want Mangle. Mangle does a lot of damage. I try to get Mangle to hit crit as often as possible. That's why you want to stack high crit, because Mangle actually, normal damage. These are normal hits, like 3k damage normal hit, and it hits 3 times. So, where is the ferocity at? So, use ferocity. Begin ferocity. Use ferocity. I'm trying to see here. Rash. Did I miss? I guess I missed. Well, at any rate, I'm gonna go back over here really quick. Um, at any rate, that build fist in. I think some weapons do better paired, like Fistles. I've been calling it Fistles as a joke. Pistols and fists do really well together because I believe both weapons benefit better for a higher crit chance than they do higher crit damage or crit power. Yeah, crit chance and crit power. So I feel they do better with a higher crit chance than they do crit power. Shotguns, hammers, higher crit power because you have a lot of single target abilities, and when they do crit, you have a lot of abilities have bonus to when they do crit. Like hammers is going to get nerfed. I am under no illusion that hammer is going to get nerfed. Pretty hardcore. Does it need it? Nah, I think other weapons need to be brought online. Their damage needs to be brought up so they're more on par with hammer. Because hammers right now is one of the more. I'm seeing a lot of hammer shotguns, a lot of blood magic hammer builds. I don't really have a blood magic build because I'm not really a fan of blood magic. But at any rate, we're gonna go over this build really quick since a minute. So I have Maul, which gives my Mangle bleed, which I like to do Mangle before I go into my other abilities. If you do it right, you can have 3 of your bleeds up, and then use Ferocity, and it takes all the bleeds. And you want to have at least those 3 bleeds up. Or once you come out of it, if you throw a Mangle up really quick and then use Ferocity, you can get 4, but you have to use what the hell is that ability? The spin last. So I have Mangle to an extra bleed. It's not not a bad bleed. It's just extra 80 points of damage. Outrage so I can get my 3 hits with my demolish. Demolish is just so when you're enraged it does even more damage. God, hammers is just godlike. The reason why I changed Feather out is the problem with this build is now that I think about it, I actually did some some theory crafting when I was fighting the training dummies in Agartha, and I realized since I'm using fist and I'm attacking anyways, I'm actually building up my Fury pretty substantially anyway, so I didn't need that. So I put this on for the extra damage from crits. I think I have a fist or hammer fist build that I use that for, which is actually pretty good. It's just you're basically spamming a couple of 2 hammer abilities until you build up the Fury to use your fist abilities. It's a work in progress. It's not. It pulls higher numbers than this build, but the burst on this one is way better, and so I think in the end the burst in this build actually edges it out just a little bit. Anyways, I have brutality for my so when I use my ferocity, it does the extra bleed damage and it pulls off the excuse me. It does the extra damage because your target's going to be bleeding anyways. So that's an extra bit of burst. And of course, obliterate. Every hammer build, every DPS hammer build will have obliterate in it, period. And I believe every hammer build it should have outrage in it, because the more rage you have, the more damage you're going to do with these abilities. So those are the main builds that I run. I will try to get ACT working, and hopefully I can get it working soon, and I could get some damage numbers to go off of so people can see how well it does. This is my other ability. This is the first DPS build that I was using, and it was really, really good at lower levels, but now that I'm a higher, I need more. This is actually really, really, really high sustained damage, very little downtime, plus I have great mobility with it. But, like I said, I'm lacking, the crit chance. So, that kills this build a lot. We have the standard. I'm not sure why I had second wind in this one, because this one can be done so much better. I'm always going over, re-looking at my build, re-editing stuff, and doing anything I can to increase the damage of the build. I figured, let's see, jackpot would increase damage for. See, I figured jackpot would be much better. Or actually, heavy caliber. I think heavy caliber rounds would be better because jackpot, it increases your you get a beneficial effect, cause your pistol attacks do 243 damage extra for 3 seconds. Or I can do flat damage where it's double whites do extra 28 damage. Yeah, I think heavy caliber rounds is much better for this build. That's my pistol fist, my elect build. I'm gonna go ahead and update this build. Yeah, I have weird names for my build. It just helps me out. I like having thematic builds. So, this is this build I was talking about where you using the hammer. And again, it does good damage. It just... See, again... Long. I think that's probably why the burst on this one is lower, because you're using fist mostly, and you don't have a lot of... You're not building up your fury very much, so you have this on because you gain one fury every second, and this, whenever I see that dot appear on the mob, that's when I'll hit them with mangle and get the 8 points of extra fury. So this one is it's a slow work in progress. I'm trying to get it to where it's comfortable for me and viable for DPS, for like legitimately good for runs. So that's one of the things I like about this game and how they've changed it, is because now I feel that builds actually are viable, and with a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of experimentation, you can actually come up with a really good build. Like Fist back in the day didn't work. I mean, Fist was just bad, and I had when I quit playing, I had almost the top of the line year. And I quit right when the Aegis system came out. That was horrible. I did it for a little bit and it sucked, so that's when I quit. But I always found that Fist was very lacking, and there were so many of the same. Everybody was running the same 2 weapons pretty much. But I'm glad they changed it. I enjoy this game a lot more now that I can fiddle around and change things how I like, and where am I going to put my points? Crit power rating. Do I want crit power rating? Hit rating. Crit power rating. I already got those. Alright. Well, anyways, I'm Mr. Battalion. That's my build video. I will do another updated in-depth build video where I'll go over each of the builds on a training dummy, and hopefully I'll have ACT working so you can actually see the numbers, and we can, I can compare and show you the difference between, just changing out a passive, because I found passives are what make the build rock. You would just change one passive and increase your damage, 25%. And that's a legitimate thing, just increasing, taking out something and putting something else in, and your damage just shoots up, and you're like, oh. And that's what I like about this game. You can do a lot of theory crafting and any, stuff like that. Anyways, my name is Battalion. Like I said, I will be doing another updated video on this later. But I thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.